Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to be going over this thing that PG Stats just put out recently. This is for the PGR that's going to be coming out, and it's just a lot of stats on mainly character placements, also the rankings of majors, which I think is very interesting. But the main thing we're going to be looking at is this right here. I'll be looking at all of these though, so we'll go in that last. But this is just super interesting stuff. So this is placement percentages. This is the average, I think, high placement of a character in a major. So you have Rob being first, not surprising. Wolf second, actually pretty surprising. Snake third, super surprising. Palutena fourth, I thought Palutena would be second. Pyramithra first or fifth, they're up one though. That makes sense. Roy down 4, makes sense. Steve up 10, again, makes sense. Joker, I don't know who is getting those, but that's insane. Cloud up 9, that makes sense, and Diddy down 2. Diddy's still pretty high. I'm mainly the only one I'm super surprised by. I'm surprised Snake is that high. Like, there's a lot of good snakes, but like that's really high. I thought maybe Roy would be a little higher. I'm surprised Joker's that high, and I'm surprised Diddy's that high. But I guess there's a couple of really good Diddy players, so it makes sense. Like, all these make sense. Obviously, they make sense. They're done by stats. But that's pretty interesting. This, I think, more interesting. This is just, I think, pick rate. This is total results. Okay. So the representation of characters used in at least one game. So they won at least a game in an equivalent tiered tournament. So A tier, B tier, C tier. You can see right here, top 8, top 6, 4, and S tier. So you have Wolf being number 1, Palutena being number 2, Rob being number 3, Roy 4, Snake 5. Basically all the same top 10 except Sonic and Samus snuck in there over Cloud and Diddy. And then you look here and it's like, okay, Pikachu's pretty low. But also a lot of the great Pikachus haven't been going to a lot of tournaments, so that makes sense. But like just on like a tier list thing, Pikachu's pretty low. Zero Suit's really low. Wario's pretty low. Kazuya's pretty low. Sheik's pretty low. Terry and Pac-Man are honestly pretty low. Falcon's really high. Same with Luigi. But I think this is more interesting because you have some mostly bad characters here, but you have some decent ones. Like you have Hero here. Hero's not a bad character. Brawler's not a bad character. The rest of them kind of suck. Michi's okay. But it's like pretty low representation. Like you can see Ganon. That's like maybe like one person did something with Ganon. Like that is so ridiculously low. And then Swordman under like Mac. Bowser Jr. is actually, I thought he'd be more like out here. But like pretty low percentages. Incineroar being the highest out of like the people that are barely represented. Byleth, that's like just Leo, I guess. And no one else, maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely other Byleth players. Maybe like Riziasu, I mean, would be another one. But yeah, that's pretty interesting as well. Just like representation of characters does not dictate your list like at all. I think these make sense for sure that they're this high. This as well. Wolf also makes sense. That character's just kind of broken, and it's like if you're good at neutral, you're probably good at Wolf. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's go to this, because this is just, I won't talk about this as much. This is just S tiers, A tiers, which we'll go over, and then these I probably won't because there's just so many. So this is within the regulation season for PGR. So that's going to be Collision, Genesis, Pound, Kagaribi, and Momocon being your S tiers. I'm actually surprised Pound was an S tier because I didn't think it had a ton of entrants. I'm pretty sure it was around, let's look at Pound, like 20... Not 20, I was thinking 2022. I was pretty sure it was around like 500 entrants, which is a lot, but I don't know if that gets you S tier. But I think it might have been S tier off of ranking, like just like the amount of high caliber players. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm just so wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. There was... Oh yeah, no, okay, I was right. I'm never wrong. So there's 400 players in here, but it was just like so stacked. Like Gluto, Leo, Light, Riddle, Zomba, Sonics, like that, Gax, Sean. That's ridiculous. So that makes sense. And then Momocon, I think, is off placement. Kagaribi is probably off of both, honestly. Collision, probably off both. Genesis, definitely off both. So super stacked. Is that 3 invitationals? That's 2 invitationals. So Smash Summit and Delfino Mazza, 2 invitationals, both A tiers. Meisumi top, Low Tide, Meisumi top again, and Battle of BC. So not actually a ton of majors in this this event. Not this event, this season. I guess this is a pretty, actually, this is a pretty This is a lot of majors, just compared to the amount of majors we're having right now, because we're having like a crazy amount right now. It's like actually ridiculous. So this is pretty impressive. If you won one of these tournaments, you're definitely going to be sitting pretty for the season, and honestly the B tiers as well, they look pretty good. Like you've got some Super Mbatos in there, you got Back in Bloods, you got Subugeki maybe? I think that's how you say that. A lot of Japanese tournaments though I'm noticing. And then, oh, the Melbourne tournament, that's nice. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. C tiers, there's just so many. There's a lot of C tiers. I'm not going to look at all of them. But if you won one of those, that's definitely going to help for PGR, or even if you placed on one of them, that looks good. This, I think, is actually really interesting. So this is the best placement for a character at a tournament. So you have Proto getting the highest minimum placement when he won Mesumi Top. But this is, mind you, this is when the season starts, and this is after. So these are, I believe, S tiers. I don't think CEO was an S tier though. It doesn't really matter because they're not ranked. But so these are the things in ranking, but these are the things just in general. So you have Proto being number 1, Sigma, Injelly, not a player I actually know very well, but they have the highest VFit placement. You have Akka, 13th highest hero placement, Zaki and Raito, highest DD and Link placements. And then you obviously have Zachary being the highest placement for Sora. Kome being the highest placement for Shulk. Raito being the highest placement at 9th. I would have thought it would be Owl BBS or Owless. I don't know how you say that. But it's Raito, so that's pretty impressive. And then Brood, 33rd. 33rd for the highest of a character. That's rough. Piranha Plant mains, he still sucks. Down bad. It happens. Leo being the highest for Byleth. Obviously, that makes sense. It was going to be on here eventually. Spargo being 2nd. I think, no, it should be, I think, I read in the description though, or like in the comments here, whatever you call it on Twitter, that, it should be Cosmos there for first at Glitch. I don't know if maybe Port was rated more, but Main Stage would be rated more. So I think it is Cosmos for first at Glitch, but still, that's impressive placement. 5th for Luis at Port Priority. I also believe Chegg got 5th at a major. Oh, he got 5th at Main Stage. So 5th, it's the highest for Palutena regardless. 7th for Dark Wizzy. So highest for Mario. 9th is Mystery Soul. I guess the Invitational isn't on here, that's why. Because that would have been, what's his name? Skyjake getting 4th. Base Mage in 9th. That's not, I guess, again, no Invitationals. And then Anormia 17th for Robin. Again, not super familiar, but also it's Robin, so that makes sense. That's actually pretty high for Robin. That's actually super impressive. 3rd at Elegant for Main Stage, that makes a ton of sense. 17th for Lima, that's because Bloom did not travel during this time period. Yes, 33rd. Mewtwo 33rd. I'm actually super surprised that Mewtwo's that low. I just would have thought Wadi had a higher tournament, but maybe not. Tai getting 49th with Zelda, again, pretty surprising. I guess the character's not super great, but you think maybe a little higher. But yeah, damn, Zelda main's struggling. Pelly being 1st, that makes sense. Siski 4th. I thought Samus would have got higher, honestly. Space 5th, that's actually super impressive now that no one really plays this character. Jacka being 7th with Isabel at a major is actually insane. And then Mezcal and Midorius being both, or 13th for Ridley and 17th for Little Mac. That's super impressive, by the way. That's ridiculous that he got that high with Little Mac. That should not have happened. And I am very disappointed in everyone who let that happen. So here we have Cola winning. That's the highest roid placement. 4th for Fratelli. 7th for Esam. Highest Pikachu placement. Pretty insane, honestly, for a character that is like top 3, top 5 guaranteed. Pretty ridiculous. It makes sense, though. Not a lot of travel from Esam. Or Shiny Mark, honestly. And those are probably the best two. H4DS and Neuros have been kind of farming it, though. So, shout out to them. They could, maybe that'll be the best Pikachu soon. Because they're ridiculous. But still, that 7th place from Esam is going to be the highest. 9th from Toast, because the other CEO doesn't count. Javi on Earth, or Javi on Earth, I think it's Javi though. Got 13th with Villager, so that's going to be the highest there. Kirby Kid 17th with K-Rool. That makes sense. Okay, that's actually pretty good for K-Rool. And then you move to January, you have Quid being the highest with PT. 3rd, New Day, so that makes sense. Yoda Cage and Bonk 17th, that makes sense. Zachary winning another Kaguribi for Joker. Again, that makes sense. I'm just gonna, I don't want to spend too much longer on this part because I'm realizing this isn't even the main part I want to talk about, so I'm just gonna be kind of skimming through this now. So for things, just like for things that I'm either thought would be higher or lower. Sue 17th, that's super impressive. Lucario sucks. Zomba 2nd, also impressive. You would have think like Rob, the most represented character, won a major, but no. 2nd still amazing though. 25th for Donkey Kong is actually pretty good. 13th for Belmont is really good. Shouts to Dom. And then we go to this. We have Riddles at 4th being the highest, because again, CEO doesn't count. Spargo winning with Cloud, that makes sense. Tweak didn't win a major in this period, so that's going to be Diddy. Mars getting 7th, I guess only Real Zeros are doing it, but that's also Mars' only top 8 within this time frame, so that's probably why. Gluto, actually that's not even probably, that is why. Gluto winning, Pound, again, makes sense. Riddles, actually, again, with 4th place. I forgot about his 4th place rate, honestly, because he kind of got over that now. Shouts to him, that's impressive. So again, with Kazuya, pretty good. Lancelot, 17th with Crom, that makes sense. 17th with Dr. Mario, absolutely unacceptable. He should not have been allowed to get that far. That's not fair, and everyone at that event should be banned because they let him get that far with Dr. Mario. Just how do you do that? So insane. How do you do that? 33rd for Capidancito with the Mii Brawler, makes sense. Shattuck getting 9th, that's actually pretty good for Corn. Even though Corn's not a bad character, they're just like really underrepresented. They don't have a lot of representation, so again, impressive. 25th for Riziasu with Marth. Yeah, that checks out. Marth's not a great character. It's just hard to be consistent with that character for a whole tournament. And then you have a ton from this tournament. You have Raito getting high with 25th. You have Tet getting high with Pit. You have Komagura getting high with Ganon. You have 17th place from a Kirby. Kono Kuro. I probably missed an Ura in there, but that's shoutouts to him. That's wild. Absolutely wild. This is, look at this. I forgot Dio got 4th in Kagurabi. That was insane. 2nd for DeBuzz. That's kind of just like him carrying Rosalina though. Low-key, that character is still bad. So shouts to him for that. Niatono got 3rd at Meisumi, and Hiro got 2nds. Not great characters, but actually Bowser's definitely better. But Pichu getting that high still is pretty good, because that character got good. Proto being 7th highest, again, just a bad Proto season, honestly. And then if you look at Battle of BC, Big D getting 13th. Again, no one should have let him do that. That's actually ridiculous that he got that high. Especially, and then, like, the Kama run. Oh my god, like, I don't even get started. How'd that happen? It's so good, so good. Oh my god. And then Mii Brawler and Mii Swordsman, I guess, just didn't make top 64 ever. So if you want to be the best Mii Brawler and Mii Swordsman player in the world, it doesn't look like it's actually that hard to do. So, good luck. And now let's get on to the main part of the video. 10 minutes in. This is going to be the best, highest contributor, so I think this means the most, like, results, like, good results from each character. And it's really interesting. So, you start with Dark Wizzy, Mario. Super shocked, honestly, because Wizzy, I guess they had, I don't know what they're including, because it's weird that they have this for post-lockdown, or because this isn't part of the season. But they have this, which is part of the season. So, and Wizzy didn't really, because Wizzy traveled during this period a decent amount, but he hasn't really traveled that much for this period, so maybe it is for both. I'm going to assume it's for both. So, not terrible from, what am I saying not terrible? There's nothing relative. Wizzy, the most impressive Mario, I would have thought it would be Kurama, but I guess Kurama's really great run is from Crown, which isn't here. So, it makes sense that it's Wizzy. There's not really any other Marios I can think of. I don't think there's any insane Japanese ones. I don't think there's any insane EU ones. I could be wrong, but hey. Hikaru, dealing with DK, Japanese player, that's pretty impressive. Best DK, official, Bernie. I do not know who this player is. Let's look them up on PG Stats. I've never heard of Bernie. I would have thought it would be Raito. Not Raito, by the way. Bernie. It looks like they're a Mexican player. This is a pretty decent 7th here, 95th. 3rd at a 250. That's actually really good. Yeah, so these are actually pretty good placements. Makes sense that he's the highest link, honestly. Does he have any majors? Let's do 200. Has to be offline. Alright, so he has no majors in this period, unfortunately, besides this one, but this is more of a B tier. But he did get 3rd, so that's pretty impressive. Still would have thought it would be Raito, but maybe, again, not in the time frame. Siski being the highest Samus makes total sense. Yoshidora, highest Luigi. Yoshi, total sense. Jajaja, highest Kirby, total sense. Light, highest Fox. I mean, come on. Neroz, highest Pikachu. That's kind of crazy. If you told me that at the start of the season, I would have said you're lying. But then if you told me that now, I'd say, oh, that makes sense. Esam and Shiny Mark didn't really go to things. Well, I'm going to make sure that Shiny Mark didn't go to a ton of stuff. Because I'm almost 100% sure he didn't. Because I think I would have seen one of his runs. Because he's ridiculous. I know he does a lot of online tournaments. So, yeah, he hasn't been... The biggest thing he went to was Geekfest, where he got 4th, which is actually pretty good. Beating Waka as well. It's a good win. And then the last thing he went to was Main Stage. So, yeah, Shiny Mark hasn't really traveled to anything. And then Esam, I think Esam has CEO in the time frame. Because I assume we're not including before. But then if you are including these, he has Main Stage. And so he would have Main Stage and CEO, and that's it. And Battle of BC, sorry. Yes, we got 9th at basically all of them. Oh, 25th at Genesis as well. Forgot about that. So not like bad placements from Esam, by the way. Just not a lot of them, and like the ones aren't super high. So that's why he's not rated as the best Pikachu. Shouts to Neroz for getting that. That's super impressive. Neroz is obviously an amazing player. The EU Pikachu's been rolling people. What's his high? 17th at King of Fields, pretty good. 65th at Colossal's not bad. It's like a super major. Some top players aren't gonna get that top spot. 97th at Genesis. Not terrible, not great. 7th at E-Carabina, that's... Oh, it's the qualifier. Still pretty good, though. That was a stacked tournament. It's like the competition. People want it in. 13th at Wanted's pretty good. Just a lot of very consistently pretty good placements from Neroz. Going to a lot of stuff as well, which I'm sure helped. 25th at Glitch is pretty good. 13th at This Wanted, very good. With a Mr. R win and a Momon win. So yeah, shoutouts to Neroz. That's good for him. That's a good character that he's using, and Esam's had that highest contributor spot for like 15 years probably, or maybe even longer. Probably not long. How long? When did Brawl come out? Like 2007? I don't want to do math. I think 15's right though. But yeah, shout out to Neroz, impressive. Elegance being highest Luigi makes sense. Send being highest Ness. I would have thought it would be Gekt, but I'm not gonna argue it too hard. Ogi being highest Falcon. Again, would have thought it would be Fatality, but I don't think Fatality went to a ton of stuff in the season, so I guess it makes sense. Or Sean. Well, Sean only had one really good run, though, so one run isn't really going to help against like a bunch of really consistent ones. Base Mage, highest Puff, absolutely. Ling, highest Peach. I don't think Mutace went to a ton of stuff, so that makes sense. Leon, highest Bowser. I would have thought it would be Hiro, but I guess Hiro didn't go to a ton of stuff. Hero, Smash, Japan. Alright, during the season, he went to Kagaribi, where he got 13th. He went to Meisumi Top, where he got 2nd. He went to Meisumi Top again, where he got 5th. And that is all that he went to, because I don't think, yeah, Kagaribi didn't count. So, honestly, these are really good placements. And Leon has, I don't think, as many great ones. I don't think Leon actually went to a ton of stuff. Let's see here. I just want to make sure this is for. That's the eazyfreezie, by the way. Let's take this. Let's take a look at this, because I want to make sure that this is just for the season. Oh, this is interesting. Take a look at this article, by the way. This is just cool. Look at that. That's awesome. Oh wait, hold on. There's Bloom. There he is. Shouts to Bloom again. Oh yeah, okay, so it is this season. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So that makes sense. Hiro, not a ton of tournaments. Leon has, Colossal doesn't count, shouts to him, getting 13th there, that's impressive. 9th at Crown, doesn't count. Back in Blood, 13th. He has a Collision 13th, he has a Pound 17th, and he has a Back in Blood 4th again. And then, yeah, so I, again, still honestly would have thought it would be Hiro, just because he has higher placements. But I guess it's Leon. Shouts to Leon, best Bowser. Hey. I'm happy with it. I love watching Leon. He's one of my favorite players. Let's see. Big D. That makes sense. Rox. I would have thought it would be Sylph. I think Rox is a... I believe they're a Mexican Sheep player. It's looking like it. They have some pretty good placements. It's looking like 17th at Delfino Mazda. That's rough. Someone's got to do it though. And then I want to look at their majors here. Let's do like 100. Do 150. And let's do offline. I don't want to look through all that. Oh, they won Bitmaster. Okay, that's impressive. We were looking at someone who got second or like fourth or third at Bitmaster, so they just straight up won. Shoutouts, that's insane. And honestly, that's probably all they needed, because there's not a ton of Sheik results because you have Sylph, you have Eam, but yeah, that's good for them. That's insane. But now it's gonna be Void because he's coming back to double down. Let's go. Altec, I don't really know. I'm not super sure who that is, but also I don't really watch a ton of Zelda stuff, so that makes sense. Shouts to them though. Orion being Doc, that makes sense. Because you know Bacon only has one result, but Orion has the pocket Doc instead of the wolf, and he pulls it out sometimes. So that makes sense. I know he did it at Genesis a couple times. So I guess the pocket Doc, hey, pocket Doc, best in the world. He actually has the brag. Natura. Just got 7th at Colossal with a ridiculous run. So they're the highest Pichu. I still would have thought it would be, who is the... Hold on, it was on this list. I don't know why I forget this player's name. I definitely know who they are. Neotono, there it is. I don't know how I forgot that. I would have thought it would be Neotono, but I guess not. Tile Falco, makes sense. Riziasu Marth, makes sense. I mean, maybe Ignace could argue for that, but he has... I don't think he went to any majors during this period, or at least not a lot. Skittles, Young Link, it would be either Skills or Toast, but I think Skills had some more decent performances. Right now, it's probably Toast, though, with like that high at CEO. But for the season, Toast. Or Skittles. Komoguro, that was the Ganon player that we saw in Japan. This set's over, hold on. Oh, it's just the commons? Isam Leo, that's a good sense. Watching Leo's just high quality. Sorry for the ad. Wadi Mewtwo, makes sense. Flo Roy, that's insane. I would have thought it would be Cola or Goblin, but I guess Flo just has like way more tournaments than both of them. That's actually pretty ridiculous. Obviously, I'd still say like Cola. I'm not even still say Cola is still better than Flo, even though he has more results like for like contributing to like the stats of Roy. But like that's. And by the way, I don't know why I didn't explain this or not. For contributing, it's like for this, I'm pretty sure like contributing towards this percentage, where it's like, oh, Roy in top 64 in S tier, Roy in top 32 in an A tier, just things like that. So Flo has more tournaments, so that's why he's in there. But shouts to Flo, that's really impressive, stealing it over like a very high League contended character. Oh my god, Isam had a mean beard. I don't remember that at all. Meister being Game Watch makes sense. Yay being Meta Knight, be him or Bonk, but that makes sense. Ludamato, not really sure, not as familiar with that player, but hey, I'm sure Pit isn't super contested because I don't know, that character's not like bad, but they're not great. Doorstop being Zero Suit Samus, again, probably just not enough representation from Mars or the Japanese Zero Suits. There's a couple of them like Kuro, but hey, shouts to them. Again, getting those like consistent placements is pretty hard to do. Gluto being Wario makes sense. Apollo Kage Snake, I would have thought it would be MVD, but again, probably just more tournaments. Or Dio, honestly. I think Dio went to a pretty decent amount of stuff, but not as much opportunity in Japan for sure. Not saying they don't have any majors there, just like US does have more. Roger being Ike, that's a sick tag. Just having your name, like a name was a tag, I think is very funny. Ike, again, not highly contentious character. I would actually. There's a lot of really good like. There's Ryuga. There's Yez. Actually, does Ryuga play? I'm pretty sure Ryuga plays. Like, I'm not gonna look it up because I don't want to waste your time if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, just tell me. Beast Pokemon Trainer. Quid didn't really go to anything. Just straight up. I don't think Quid went. I think Quid went to Collision, and that was it. Tweak Diddy makes sense. Nightox not Ness. What's his name? Lucas makes sense. Ken Sonic, it's him or Sonic's. Right now it's probably Sonic's just because of how the tear Sonic's has been on right now, and Ken kind of doing that Sephiroth Sonic's combo. But yeah, good shouts to him. Zaki, Didi makes sense, or I guess DDD. I don't know why I'm only pronouncing it. Shouts to Didi though, he's a good player. Shuton Olimar makes sense. DeBuzz Komang with Rosalino a lot more. Armadillo, Lucario, that checks out. Zomba that checks out. Aang. I would have thought it would have been Sigma for 2 Link. Look up Aang's results. Alright, another Mexican. Damn, there's a lot of Mexican players on this list, actually. I just only want to see the majors, because that's all that matters. No mate? Oh, okay, well, I'm stupid. 9th, what I assume is a B tier, pretty good. 13th is pretty good. 5th year, oh, that doesn't count. Okay, so he only has 2. Does Sigma have no placements, maybe? Does Sigma just not go to anything? He's probably not going to come up on here. His name's probably in Japanese still. Sigma Smash. Alright, so he has a Sebugeki, where he got 2nd, Matsumi top, he got 33rd. Kurisum, I don't know how big this was though. What does it say? 96, I don't think that would count for a PGR. And then he has 33rd Kagaribi. Oh, and then he also has a 9th that makes me top. So again, I still honestly would have thought it'd be Sigma, but I guess not. Orion Wolf, makes sense. Ouch only has 1 major. Kept for Villager. Yeah, that makes sense. It's him or Javi on Earth, but I think Javi on Earth's big kind of tournaments were before the season started. Trim Mega Man. I'm actually surprised. I thought it would be like MPG. Wait, no, is it MPG or MGP? Okay, it is MPG. I almost got embarrassed. His name Trim. Damn. Or is it Joker? Is it Mega Man? Make up your mind. Okay, so EU player. 25th at E Carabina, unlucky, but hey, still a chance they got there is pretty good. 2nd or 33rd at Colossal. Don't know why I said 2nd. That's pretty good. 49th at Genesis. That's not bad at all. A 13th at a Wanted's pretty good. You got a Super Striker win as well, and a Nex. Oh, that's not Nexus. I think that's probably where the season ends. Yeah, okay, so pretty good placements for them. I still would have thought it'd be MPG, but I guess maybe he just didn't go to a ton of tournaments, or didn't have as much representation. In Jelly, for the Wii Fit, we saw them earlier. DeBuzz Rosa, obviously. Terrakatori. That was the Little Mac. I talked about him in one of the videos, and then someone asked, like, can I see the bracket? And I just could not find it, so I didn't respond. I always felt bad about it. But this is the Japanese Little Mac that, like, won, like, 100-person regional or something over some really, not regional, just, like, maybe a local. I don't know how to describe its size. It was a decently sized tournament with some pretty good players, and he won with Little Mac. Insane. He is amazing. Capsized Greninja. That's actually pretty insane, because there's a lot of high contention for Greninja. There's Leah, there's Tarek, there's iStudying, there's JW. But Capsize took it. Shoutouts to him. I think he is EU. Capsize. Oh, no, he's America. He looks like he's secondary to Greninja. Oh, maybe he just picked him up recently. He used to use Robin. 49th at Battle of BC, not bad. 33rd Back in Blood, not bad at all. So pretty good placements overall. 17th at Emerald City, this looks like it was pretty decently sized. Also Slushy, like that's DK? I'm pretty sure Slushy plays DK. I want to see more DK gameplay. That character is funny. Yeah, so shoutouts to him. That's pretty impressive, because like Greninja's a good character, but it's like I feel like there's not a lot of representation, but that's just because like in America there's not a ton of super strong ones, but like Capsize is like, hey, at least you got me, I'm pretty cracked too. So hopefully we can see him have a super deep run in that tournament. In Jelly for Brawler, I guess he also plays Brawler, shoutouts to him. No one really else can contest that except Esam's run at Combo Breaker, but one run isn't going to do it. Copied on Sito for both Gunner and Swordsman, makes sense. Chag Palu. That makes sense, because I think Chag went to more stuff than Luis, and also was just much more consistent than Luis this season. Luis kind of had the show in the preseason, and then Chag kind of beat him a bit in this season. And then right now, I'd say Chag's winning with that 3rd at Colossal. That's kind of insane. But also Rafflo definitely could have took it as well. T, Backman, I mean, come on. Proto Lucina, again, like, it's not even a question. Whiskey for Robin. I would have thought it would be Angel, actually. But, because I'm not as familiar with Whiskey, but shouts to that, and that's pretty good. Comey for Shulk, makes sense. Yoda Cage for Bowser Jr. makes sense. Rido, Duck Hunt, of course. Oshimo rather, for Ryu, 100%. Spargo for Cloud, I mean, I think we all saw that coming. Leo for Corrin, is actually pretty surprising. But he did pick up Corrin like the second the season started because he picked up Corrin at like the G4 Invitational, which is like right at the start of the season. So I guess that's why he's been playing Corrin for a bit now, just like off and on, kind of like picking him out for counter picks. I still would have thought it would be Shattuck, but shouts to Leo. Bloom, Bayonetta, of course, no one's surprised. Shiryakui, that's not how you say that. Shiryuki, there you go. Best Inkling, I would have thought it would be Space, honestly. Or maybe even Colorado, because he's had some pretty good placements as well. But that was I think that was the Japanese Inkling we saw with the highest placement. Let's see, no, that was Space. Okay, well, I'm crazy then. I'm pretty sure he had a good, I want to look him up, because I'm pretty sure he actually had a good run. How do you spell that? S-H. Smash. That's how you spell Smash. I think he had a pretty deep run recently. He got 4th at a Super Bato, 2nd at a Meisumi top. Or just a Meisumi. So yeah, very good runs from him. Shout out to him for taking Inkling. Not as contested a character as he used to be, but still like fairly high, I'd say. There's a lot of good Inklings. Mezcal, Best Ridley. Yeah, I'd say that makes sense. It'd be him or the Japanese one who had, is it Momon? I believe that's Ridley. And actually, I don't even think that's Japanese. I think that's EU. But whatever. Noxembura, or Noxembra, rather. I don't know why I said it like that. Best Richter, that makes sense, because Dom didn't, I don't think Dom went to a single major at all during this, so that he took that. Mr. R being the best Crom, makes sense. Kirby Kid, best, what's his name, best K-Roll. Even though Kirby Kid didn't go to a ton of stuff, just shows like that he has dominance over that character. Kept being best Isabel. I guess he just has the Isabel secondary when the villager's not doing it. That makes sense. Takara, best Ken. That honestly, that makes a lot of sense because all like the big, I guess maybe I would give it to Vendetta or Andres, but I think Takara like basically solo mains Ken to at least more. He plays Ken than the other ones. The other ones are more like either Ryu or like Terry or Kazuya, but more Ryu. So that makes sense. Shouts to Takara. SkyJ, obviously. Regi Shikimi. Okay, I don't actually know who this player is. Let's look them up. Regi. I'm just looking them up on here though, because I don't know if they're a Japanese player or not. And then they might not appear. 4th here, that's pretty good. 9th, so it looks like they're a Mexican player for the Tijuana placement. Not a ton of tournaments, but still pretty consistent. I guess his only competition is Brood, and Brood didn't go to a ton of stuff. So shouts to him. Overtaking the most loved, but this done so dirty character in Piranha Plant. Luminous for best Joker. I would have thought it'd be Lemon. Lemon or Emas would be my guesses, but I guess they didn't go to as much stuff. Or Luminous has just had a lot of runs. I didn't really see him in much stuff here. Let's actually look him up because I think Joker's an interesting character. Luminous. I have to find which one? Did I spell that right? I did. Okay, they're a Japanese player. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure. They made Joker. 17th at Meisumi top. 9th at a Subanbatsu is pretty good. 3rd at Kaguribi is pretty good. 5th at a Subeki is actually really good. 17th Meisumi top. Okay, yeah, these are actually really good placements. I don't know how I've never heard of this player. Maybe their name is just like only Japanese and I've never actually seen it. But yeah, shouts to them. That's pretty impressive. We'll see if Zachary will play Joker and take it back. Excited for Zachary to be back, by the way. Vivi, best hero. I would have thought it would have been Akka, but maybe Akka just didn't go to any stuff. And then Nair also. Maybe Nair hasn't been going to as much stuff because I'm pretty sure he plays mainly hero now. Maybe hero secondary Ridley main. But that's interesting. LBBS for best Banjo. That 100%. No, not even second of contention for there. Riddle's best Ken or Terry. 100%. Leo best Byleth. I mean, come on. Proto best Minmin. Yep. Aquila best Steve. Again, no question there. Ken best Sephiroth over Tweak. Pretty interesting because I think Ken did use Sephiroth more because Tweak kind of only used Sephiroth towards the last couple tournaments, whereas Ken's kind of been using him consistently throughout the season. So that makes sense. Shootone over Cosmos. Cosmos had like Cosmos had a really good off season and then a not very great actual season, so that makes sense that Shootone, because Shootone kind of just always does pretty good. Like Shootone never does bad ever. He's just like, yeah, I'll just get 5th every time. I don't really mind, or 2nd or whatever, or 1st. Honestly, he's ridiculous. So Shootone getting the best Fire Mythra makes sense. Tarek being the best Kazuya, I guess he didn't really play Greninja as much. I would have thought it'd be Riddles, but I guess Riddles kind of only used Kazuya as a counter pick. I think that time he mainly used Kazuya was Pound, and I feel like he used a lot of Genesis, but maybe that was just one set I saw. But yeah, shoutouts to Tarek for taking the Kazuya. And Kameme best Sora, the only player who knows how to use Sora apparently, and Leah, and probably someone else that I'm forgetting. Just not a counterpick Sora, and honestly, that is what I like to hear, because counterpick Soras do that character dirty. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. A lot of very good players on here. I just love these stats as well. Shoutouts to PG Stats for putting these up. Shoutouts again to eazyfreezie for the graphic and like making it, I'm pretty sure. Or no, he just made it. He just adds stats as well. Just like follow eazyfreezie on Twitter. Follow PG Stats. Go to pgstats.com. Use Smashpedia or Liquipedia. Everything that I use in this video will all be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I know this one was a bit long, but there's a lot to talk about. A lot of cool stuff on here. A lot of cool stats. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to sub if I mispronounce a name, which I did, or maybe like you know more about a player than I did. Like Altec, for example, I'm not super familiar with what that is. Didn't really look it up because it's Zelda. No shot to Zelda mains, but like the character is not great. Doesn't have a ton of great results. Let me know. That'd be super interesting. Always like to learn more about just players of the game. There's a lot of people, so it's hard to keep up with everyone. But like the more knowledge, the better. That's kind of all I have. Really quick for the Double Down video. A lot of people unfortunately dropped out of the Double Down video. So if you have any questions on that, you can comment on this video or the Double Down video. It doesn't really matter which one, but I'll definitely answer that. Like I know someone asked, I think it was about Cola, how like their run would be affected. So like just stuff like that, because it is interesting. A shame that people dropped out, but obviously like mental health and personal life definitely matters more. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to sub. Sorry this one was so long, but I like to talk and there was a lot to talk about. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.